There's still a lot to do in this episode. The video of Stuart Alderoty playing live with Robin Hood will be shown. Do you think the timing is appropriate for what we aim to do? Do you think that the fact that something is being prepared at Robin Hood is a coincidence? Alright, let's discuss it. Does Microsoft own Ethereum, the digital currency used by the Australian Reserve Bank? I can cover the blockchains for you. What's happening with Coinbase for Bitcoin? Rumors are going around regarding the paper. The XRP price chart quickly surfaced. Please be patient with me as we go over each of the many alternatives you have to think about in detail. Keep your cool, find a seat, and get a cold. Get a drink, and let's get started with Bitcoin. In 59,91623 hours, 233 hours of Ethereum have elapsed. Both USDT and USDC are currently down 33%. While XRP has seen an average increase of 57 cents, USDT and USDC have both concluded at their respective dollar marks. With the entire cryptocurrency market valued at $1,077 billion, or 2.16%, where will we go from here? Folks, we're on our way, and from now on, the possibilities are endless. The Australian Reserve Bank declares that it will prioritize the digital money issued by the central bank for wholesale use over retail. Australia's central bank declared its plan to concentrate on wholesale CBDC currency. Central bank digital currency has more potential benefits and fewer drawbacks than a retail counterpart. The Reserve Bank of Australia announced that development of a digital currency issued by the central bank for wholesale use will take precedence over that for retail use. A digital token that central banks provide to banks and other financial institutions for use in routine transactions is referred to as wholesale digital currency, CBDC. DRBA has pledged to giving wholesale digital money and infrastructure, including wholesale CBDCs, top priority on its work agenda, despite the fact that all G20 countries and other nations have been investigating digital currencies issued by central banks. Is Ethereum going to be the next Microsoft, or even the Microsoft of the blockchain, considering how many central banks are pushing their digital currencies as the money of the future? The Ethereum blockchain has the most active developers and users, and its market valuation is 5 times larger than that of its nearest competitor. The research indicates that underperformance may improve by the end of the year. Bitwise reports that more than 60% of all DeFi assets are controlled by the Ethereum blockchain, which also distributes the majority of stablecoins. Ethereum blockchains are comparable to those of Microsoft. The asset manager just shared a fascinating statement, and we saw Valen's little song. Is that all that's possible? We'll call this his nursery rhyme, token 2049. But, I guess having all that money doesn't bother you. I did predict, and I still do, that Ethereum would lose its position as the leading coin. This person seems unaffected by the outside environment. I've made this forecast for 2025, only time will tell if it comes true. I'm just speculating, but I have a strong feeling that Ethereum will be disregarded. Then, we learned that Stuart Alderoty, Robin Hood, and Gold were present at the GoofFin policy, and that Ethereum is not included in the competition between BNB and Tether for places 4 and 5, and XRP and Bitcoin Solana for positions 2 and 3. How intriguing is that? Now, as I said in my opening remarks, the Passero Center has profited immensely from seeing this film. Besides Stu, there's another alarm. Sandra has twice been a Hoyer. Sandra is in charge of the World Economic Forum's blockchain and digital asset initiatives. She graduated with a master's and bachelor's degree from Georgetown University. Sandra, it's a pleasure to have you. Let's begin with Dave Laval, Dan Gallagher. And here's another, Dave. Dan Gallagher follows, who has been a fervent Passero Center supporter for over 20 years. Dan, back when you were an SEC commissioner, we collaborated on proxy voting and the authority of shareholder rights in New York. There, you said something. Alam is a fantastic individual who provides us with assistance in a multitude of ways. Her experience spans a wide range of fields, including traditional finance and grayscale platform ETF management. This and the panel I'm going to offer to you. We appreciate you for the introduction. It is evident that the financial markets and cryptocurrencies will be the subject of our panel. But before we move further, Stuart and I had a discussion earlier in which you mentioned that you realized you can't build a strong Bitcoin market infrastructure without first getting regulator approval. I've spoken with a number of people in the field, and they all agree that the election in November is important. The November election is important for the Bitcoin industry, mainly because one candidate has promised to represent numerous professionals in the field think it has negatively impacted the sector overall. My inquiry seems to be directed toward November, and I have some worries regarding the results of the election. More specifically, in terms of the main point on the ticket, how important is the presidential election this cycle for the president to the longevity of the industry? The longevity of the industry? So, let me just say, thank you. I am aware that compliance has always been first for Ripple. Over our 12 years in business, we have consistently engaged with legislators and regulatory bodies. We have met with the Trump and Harris campaigns this election year, and the RNC has certainly been a loud voice. Additionally, we have shown our support for Democrats and Republicans at the DNC and RNC conventions. Take a look at the 16-page, one-paragraph platform statement for their conference. Declare categorically that the U.S. will put an end to its war against cryptocurrencies and take the lead in the global market. As of yet, the Harris campaign is not very well known. But they have stated in private that they would like to modify the policy, so I think this is a possibility. Politicians in the country must, first and foremost, remove the motivation for unelected bureaucrats. Cryptocurrency has shown to be a reliable voice in politics and is undoubtedly here to stay. Since Dan, an SEC member, was a member of the SEC, we must be heard. Besides, who is in charge of these regulatory bodies, which use enforcement to set policy? It makes a difference if the administration is Republican, Democratic, or a mix of the two. Alum, how are you feeling? The election wasn't too unpleasant when I was there in November, but now that I've accepted the predicate, it's a beast. Well, I think STE is exactly right. I think this is a binary problem. You already know that crypto will prevail in the event that, let's say, Harris wins and Trump wins. Analyze your case. Whatever they're whispering, proceed with caution and keep in mind that Moscow has a reset button as well. Although it didn't actually work all that well, I think it will eventually arrive. I can definitely see a path toward legislation. Regarding the legislation, take note of the involvement of the CEO of Robinhood, a well-known person in the Bitcoin space. He's sitting there with Stu, and he's talking about the winds of Trump victory. I'm sure it's not by accident. They shook hands a couple times and spoke behind closed doors. Listed again at XRP on Robinhood. Well, the times ahead will be exciting. KRYP intends to release 5 colors. Choose your favorite color. He mentioned that older pumps are breaking down. Since the bottom of this cycle is 28 cents, let me attempt to make this as exciting as possible for everyone watching. We are thinking about a $3 XRP. We are aiming for an all-time high of $485, which is slightly higher than the previous high of $283, so at least he has momentum. Go to red zone 622 if we find it. Considering that blue would increase it to $7 and that the parabolic blow-off top would be roughly $27, where do I stand on this? Well, guys, if there isn't a bull run or anything crazy, this is the worst case scenario for the apocalyptic scenario. At the moment, these marketplaces are valued at almost $2 trillion. We certainly don't want to be there, but in the worst case scenario, if we break the 75-cent range that I've been talking about, we're looking at targets that are exactly between his yellow and blue boxes. By 2020, I think we're going to hit an all-time high of about $1.50 to $2. I think we're getting close to that point. According to our conservative predictions, 100% of us could be able to break into the double digits, which would enable XRP to peak. We believe that money has to shift from traditional markets into cryptocurrency with lower interest rates. This is entirely feasible and should be taken into account. Folks, it's still very early in the game. After Q4 plays out, let's review the analysis.